52 Living Ideas is one of my favorite things in my life, and I really appreciate what you guys do. I think I discovered you during the pandemic, where we're all stuck, and I was fascinated. You had Aiden doing, the Jung talks, Shrikant, how can you not fall in love with the guy? He's super positive and intriguing, and he's surrounded himself with great people. So I am very appreciative because a lot of the concepts that I'm sharing can be very esoteric or hard to understand. And so over the years doing these groups, it's helped me refine the communication. And my passion is what it means to be a hero. So I want everyone to relax. Let's have some fun, be open. It's going to be interactive, about a 20-minute presentation. And then we're going to flesh out what your reaction is. I want you to be very candid, very honest, and let's start our journey. The most important part is that you get to see my PowerPoint. So give me 1 second. Can everyone see this okay?
Yes.
Be a hero training level 1. I hope to have different levels of this training. My name is David Bloome. I'm the creator of HeroNet. HeroNet is an organization that is helping to create heroes. And tonight I want to help you to be a hero who's helping yourself, your family, your friends, other people, and other species. So I'm going to explain how I came up with this type of hero, why I think it can be very valuable for you. So we hear the word hero 24 hours a day. Like we constantly hear about heroes. But if you ask people, well, define hero, it's all over the map. So I first wanted to do a deep dive on what exactly does this word mean? So I started just basically with the word origin of hero in the dictionary. And hero to me is a very gender neutral term. Anyone could be a hero. But obviously, when you go back in history, it's associated with the word man or masculine. But I think we've really moved away from that. Um, the origin of the word was a man of superhuman strength, physical courage, a demigod, an illustrious man, a defender, a protector, from the word protect. And what I found very interesting is it's probably a pre-Greek word. It's a very old term. It's a very old term that's been with human beings a long time. Now, everyone can sort of agree a hero is someone who risks or sacrificed their life to help an individual, a family, a community, a people, a nation, humanity. We see this every day where a soldier is a hero for giving their life in the line of duty, or a firefighter risk their life. There's no question that people who do risk or sacrifice their life are heroes. But it's not the only definition of a hero. If you came to Hollywood to a studio or a producer, they'd sit down with you and say, all right, tell me about the hero of your story. The hero is a main character of a story. Now, a hero could be anyone in that context, anywhere. They're just the main character of a story. And now it's getting very popular where you believe you are the hero in your own life story. I want to give you 12 more definitions to give you context. There are numerous definitions, but some notable people would be fun to hear how they defined hero. Carl Jung, the hero's main feat is to overcome the monster of darkness. It is the long hoped for and expected triumph of consciousness over the unconscious. His disciple, Marie Louise von Franz, for the hero figure is one of those eternal archetypal images which slumber in the depths of every soul and which determine human life and destiny in an unsuspected measure. And of course, the mythologist Joseph Campbell, Hero with a Thousand Faces, a hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are there encountered, and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man. The classic hero's journey that I'm sure many of you have heard about. The poet Maya Angelou, I think a hero is any person really intent on making this a better place for all people. Stan Lee from Marvel Comics. Another definition of a hero is someone who's concerned about other people's well-being and will go out of his or her way to help them, even if there's no chance of a reward. That person who helps others simply because it should or must be done, and because it is the right thing to do, is indeed, without a doubt, a real superhero. The activist Martha Beck. Tell yourself a life story in which you, the hero, are primarily a problem solver rather than a helpless victim. Uh, the blogger Lorna Johnson. My parents are my role models, my heroes. This is a woman who wrote about her best friend who helped donate an organ to her. She is forever my hero and the type of person I aspire to become. She is saving my life, and I am forever grateful. The writer Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Entrepreneurs are heroes in our society. They fail for the rest of us. Arthur Ashe, the athlete. True heroism is remarkably sober, very undramatic. It is not the urge to suppress others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost. A couple more. The actress Helen Hayes. We relish news of our heroes, forgetting that we are extraordinary to someone too. And perhaps I'll end with one of my favorite quotes about heroes, J.R.R. Tolkien. He wrote in The Hobbit, I've found that is the small, everyday deed of ordinary folks that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love. And this really surprised me when I read this quote. I think the simple rustic love of Sam and his Rosie, nowhere elaborated, is absolutely essential to the study of his, the chief hero's character, and to the theme of the relation of ordinary life, breathing, eating, working, begetting, and quests, sacrifice, causes, and the longing for elves and sheer beauty. It blew me away that Tolkien believes in Lord of the Rings, filled with amazing heroes, that he believes the chief hero's character is Sam. And that's really powerful, like his quote above that. It's the small everyday deed. It's really Sam who eventually carried Frodo up to Mount Doom and they threw in the ring. It was Sam who, returned back home, got married, sort of lived happily ever after. Very understated hero. And I think in today's world where everyone associates heroism with like a superhero saving the world, Tolkien's message is day-to-day people are constantly doing heroic acts, and that's very powerful for me. So through all these definitions, I sort of distilled down what's sort of the common threads, the common themes. And I came up with heroes are helping themselves, their families, their friends, other people, or other species, or a combination of that. Like every one of these definitions involves helping. And so that's why I said, well, wouldn't that be interesting to be a hero who's helping yourself, your family, your friends, other people, and other species? That would be like the ultimate hero. That would be a superior hero. And where does the word superhero come from? It's a superior hero. And I thought, what a great way to live your life to combine all the aspects of heroism. Now, a lot of people, when you say, well, are you a hero? You get a lot of resistance. People go, oh, no, no, I'm not a hero. I have to save someone's life. And, I say, well, but I've said there's many definitions of a hero. That's one type of hero who risks their lives, but there's other definitions of a hero. Well, I want to be modest. It's inflated to be a hero. And here's what's fascinating to me, and I want to talk to you about the hero archetype. So, what is an archetype? An archetype is a character or a symbol or a pattern that repeats itself over and over again throughout history in our stories, fairy tales, and myth. So the hero is a character we constantly hear about. Another character could be a mentor or a guide or a funny sidekick or a helpful animal, going on a journey, going into the mountains and receiving wisdom, or going deep into a cave and confronting a demon or dragon, or discovering a treasure. Those are our archetypes. They repeat over and over in our stories, and it's fascinating. Why is that? And I really learned about archetypes from the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. I call him the Swiss wizard. Um, Carl Jung has had the biggest intellectual influence on my life by far. Um, Without studying Jung, uh, I might have just had a nervous breakdown. I mean, fascinating theories. Is Carl Jung perfect? Absolutely not. Do I agree with everything Carl Jung wrote? No. But when you really study Jung, you will start to understand his influence on our culture. It's only now being discovered. And if you're interested in Carl Jung, I have a ton of books about him. I would start with his book, Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. Jung is a very tough read directly at times. Um, this book, which he wrote, is a great way to introduce yourself to him and his theories. All right, so the hero archetype. You can't go through the day hearing about hero stories. You walk outside, there's a movie poster of heroes, television shows, video games. Our world is filled with heroes. Now, why is this? It's because your psyche wants you to be a hero. Let me repeat this. Your psyche wants you to be a hero. What? To give itself a psychological order, your psyche wants you to be a hero. The world is chaos, especially when you're younger and you're growing up. You don't even have to be younger, just put on media, it's chaos. So your psyche is looking for an order, and it's placing you as the hero of this universe. That's why throughout our lives, we constantly hear and see hero stories. It's because a community, a collective, a culture believes hero stories are valuable. Sit around the campfire and let's tell you about great heroes. I'm going to escape with my family and watch a hero story. And what happens is your psyche learns and knows that if you are a hero, it increases your chances of survival and expands your loving of being alive. It wants you to be a hero because there's a survival advantage to that. And evolutionarily, that is a deep archetypal programming in our psyche. We do not have control over that. That is part of the foundation of our psyche. And what happens is your psyche becomes attracted to role model heroes and hero stories. So people for entertainment or to feel better are going after hero stories. And what's interesting and what we'll talk about in our discussion is not being a hero blocks your energy and creates psychological disruption. When people go, well, I'm not a hero and that's too inflated, I want to be modest. Your psyche does not like that. It wants you to be a hero. You are blocking this energy flow. And we're going to talk about, I understand the resistance of, flying through the air like Iron Man. I'm not that. But there's got to be a way where you can conceptualize being a hero where you allow this flow. So for your psychological health, you should be a hero. So now I'm putting together why I'm doing this. I'm challenging you, I'm inviting you to be a hero who's helping yourself, your family, your friends, other people, and other species. And from my own experience and other people's experience, when you start to do this consciously, it's incredibly energizing, empowering, and rewarding. It motivates you to be even more helpful because you're consciously going, all right, well, I'm just going to help everything I see, which is incredibly validating. That's getting that psychic energy flow going. And overall, it just gives your life greater meaning and purpose. And finally, it really helps you face adversity and gets you through hard times. What is the stuff of drama? The three-act structure. We get to know the hero, and then act two is always what is the adversity they face, the challenges, the problems. It's not an interesting story unless the hero goes through something and becomes more conscious and learns something about themselves. That's what they mean by the character arc. So you feeling empowered that you could be a hero in adversity through tough times really is empowering. So I'm just going to end again with challenging you to be a hero who's helping yourself, your family, your friends, other people, and other species. And in our discussion, and I've learned my lesson, it's very hard to like put people on the spot going, will you be this type of hero? Like, whoa, 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 I've just heard this for the first time. So I think I'm going to take the approach of sit with this, consider this, quietly do it. And in our conversation, I'd love to get your immediate feedback and then help shape you to be this type of hero. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, David. All right. So I this is going to be extremely interactive. So first, David, what question do you want to put on the table? How do you want to engage people?
I would like people's just reaction. What did they like? What they didn't understand? What they thought was valuable? So just don't even think about it like, oh, I didn't even know that, or you're boring me. But, I just would love,
Wonderful.
initial reactions.
Let's go for initial reactions. Go ahead and type an exclamation mark in chat or raise your hand in Zoom. If would love to hear from all of you. So go right ahead.
And you can start, Shrikant, because you weren't
So
here
you want
last
to
month. So
start?
I'd love to
Okay.
get your reaction.
Um, so for me, um, it the way I understand hero, I think the best capturing I have of heroism is Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, because it's all about, you know, being ready to face. So firstly, it's a character trait. It's not just one time thing that you do or a particular thing that you do. It's something that you do all the time. Secondly, it has that arc of saying you have to be willing to face the darkness, which is what was highlighted by Carl Jung and even Tolkien, because there is not darkness, there's not necessarily huge darkness. There are little darknesses, but willingness to face that, take the pain of that, take the risk of that, um, and then have the struggle to do it. And it really doesn't matter whether you succeed most of the time. It is your commitment to doing that. And if you keep trying, you will succeed some of the times. And then you are able, whatever what you accomplish is not just good for you, but it is good for everybody. So the idea of the hero going out into the forest, unknown forest, slaying the dragon, getting the gold, and bringing it back to the city. So firstly, leaving the city. So that's the thing, is that too many people are just comfortable with where they are. So firstly, it is kind of going out and saying, let me do something which is meaningful to me and to others. And for that, you have to go through darkness, because you don't know what what the meaningful thing is, because it's at the edge of what you know and what you don't know. And you have to be willing to kind of step out of your comfort zone in order to do that. And at the end of it, you kind of circle right back and come back to the city and offer it to everybody, so the city is better, and keep doing that. So that's the best kind of capturing that I know of. But that's just me. Go ahead.
No, so you brought up two interesting points. One, um, that hero's journey is very personal and inner. Joseph Campbell really based his hero's journey theories off Carl Jung, and Carl Jung was a depth psychologist. So when people think about being a hero, a lot of times it's an exterior thing. I save someone or people. But if you ask most people, they rather run into a minefield and risk their lives than go within themselves and confront a fear and change themselves. And that's where the real hero's journey happens, to do that. And so when I say there's a resistance to being a hero, or I haven't done some grand thing, the real hero work is that inner work. So that's one. The second thing is the context of being on a hero's journey makes you feel like you're not alone, because we all go through real dark, chaotic parts of our lives. And look at our culture. It's like, well, then you better take some drugs real fast. I mean, it's sick when you think about it. It's like, we better inoculate you. And your psyche is going, no, I gotta go in and change. It's terrifying. And so what Campbell's like, you are not alone. Not only you're not alone, there's thousands of years of hero stories where you're not alone to do this. But our culture doesn't do that. Our culture is, when the going gets tough, medicate. And it's one, it's not going to help us get out of it. So when I was reading Joseph Campbell, I'm like, I'm not alone. I didn't sit there going, oh, I'm a hero, and tell my kid I'm a hero. It was more of like just a general context of I'm not alone on this journey.
No, that's beautiful. Absolutely, it is kind of inner. But I want to add one more, connected to one more point that you have emphasized. You know, when you think of your interaction with others, okay, you don't know others, you don't know another human being. And if you want to really connect with them, okay, and really help them, really make a difference, that means you have to be willing to put up a lot of, do this journey in an interpersonal way, kind of face the conflicts that you have, face the disagreements that you have, identify the commonalities, be willing to do all of that in order to actually do something in with other people, whether it is one-on-one or in a group of people or at a city or country as a whole. But that involves, so it is not necessarily, so it is not just physical action, it is both kind of internal action and social action, and all of them have that. So beautiful, wonderful, thank you so much. Let's go with Maritza, Julie, and G phone. I think it is Jean. Go ahead, Maritza.
Hi. So, you know, I really empathize with a lot of what you were saying, Shrikant. And that, we've that version of the hero's journey is one that we've explored quite a bit in detail together here at 5211 Ideas. What jumped out at me of your presentation is the entity for it being a community centric type of way of being, as it were. I love that Shrikant pointed out that it's a character trait. It's not just something you do once and yep, I'm a hero. I did this. I'm good. It's more of a thing that you're doing this heroic thing because your very nature is of a hero. But what from your presentation, what stood out was really it was two aspects. I really like the entity for us to make the decision that we are in fact a hero and to move forward with that intent. And I love that. So I have here some of the people here at 57 Ideas will laugh because I've had some meetings where I've been like, I'm gonna beat you over the head with intent and you're gonna like it. And the idea being that I really believe that so much of our forward movement really lies in that very first a decision to do something. Like to move forward with intent is much different than just moving forward. And I love that you put that it's a matter of the way you said it was like, well, if I'm just like, oh no, I'm not. If you belittle it, then it closes you and it actually affects your psyche. And I don't usually tend to think of it that way, but I really that really spoke to me. Um, and I will say one other thing that spoke to me was almost it spoke to me as but wait, it's not quite that. So you talked about the fact that we have heroes in history because we want to talk about it's in the communities, it's in the the groups, and I forget the exact wording, but what stood out to me is that it's not. I don't believe that tales of heroes are passed down because we want to hear about heroes necessarily, but it's because of something to tie in with what Shrikant said is that it's impossible to be a hero in a bubble. If one is heroic or being a hero, it's a community thing. You're not like in the hero's journey. If you go off to the next town and you never come back, there is no song written about you. There is no tale passed down. So it's not the story is not about the hero, even though the story doesn't exist without the hero. And I don't quite know how that would look in your sides, but to me, I think it's so very vital to understand that it is a symbiotic relationship between the hero and the community. You cannot be a hero without the community. Like it's just not going to happen. You're not really heroic if you go into a closet and be heroic and you never do anything with it. So I don't know. That's probably super unelegantly stated. I'm sorry, but
No, no, you were doing great until you devalued all your insightful comments. So, okay, don't do that. That's not heroic. So here's my response to both of you. I love that you're picking up and you're helping me hear so I can emphasize it in future talk. It is a character trait. It's a lifestyle. In fact, I think that we're naturally heroic and we block it. We are just getting up through the day, being a little being on a spinning ball through space, and you're gonna die forever. That's terrifying. That's terrifying. I'm amazed our culture, like on the news goes, are you as freaked out about me, about mortality? I mean, it's like we don't talk about it. It's like a stiff upper lip of just being hero from day to day. And so what I love about what you guys are saying is, yeah, it's not a one-shot deal like in a movie. It's a lifestyle. It's an outlook. And if you consciously see yourself as that hero, and exactly what you said, that it's the helping. And by definition, you have to help an other. That's why, because I struggled with, all right, what's the common theme? And I could have said, oh, they're risking their life. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a form of helping. You're helping someone if you're risking, but what's underneath that? It's the help to another. Like you're saying, you can't have a hero unless you're helping or yourself. And so, um, I noticed when I said, okay, hero's helping, how much I hear the word help every day. It's fascinating. Can I help you? Self-help. Like so to your point, like we are helping, we're uplifting each other. So I'm trying to tie it together with, okay, this hero is a very powerful archetype. I didn't make that up. It just is. I'm trying to understand that. Heroes are helping. So why not challenge you to be the ultimate hero and help yourself and others practice that? And it's a high. It's energizing to do that.
Thank you, David. I just want to make one quick comment on the point about community. I was thinking about this. When I think about heroes and community, like what heroes do is that they actually put their skin in the game in order to improve the community, and that means sometimes taking a lot of heat. It is not doing, if you're doing kind of help which doesn't cost you that much, doesn't really make that big a difference, that's one level. But it's really, I mean, the heroic thing is, to what extent are you really invested in the community? How much do you care about it? And what, you know uh, to what extent you're willing to kind of look deeply into it, what it needs, and do whatever is needed to kind of to um, make the transformation. So it has also has those patterns of going through darkness, slaying the dragon, bringing the gold, and you're all operating in the community itself, but all those, that cycle is going on, I think. Does that
Yeah,
make sense to you?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's go next. Folks would love to hear from as many people as possible. Next up is going to be Julie. Julie, go ahead.
Okay, so what stood out to me was the two quotes stood out to me actually that I really related to. The one about Stan Lee, the one about helping people in need as a definition for a hero, but also the quote by Tolkien about like small acts of kindness and love. And those two really relate to me because just over time in my own experiences, I've realized that we are all heroes, whether we realize it or not. And we're also heroes. We're heroes to people or even animals that we don't even know about. I know last time I may have talked about the story about the mouse. I found a mouse on a sticky trap and I freed it because I couldn't bear to throw a life away. I mean, I know, but I freed it and it actually came back into this room and looked at me and then left, like as if to say thank you. So it was like I felt pretty good about that because I've never seen it since. But I was just thinking, to save a life or at least to give it a second chance, that kind of makes you feel good. It kind of makes you feel like a hero. To that mouse, I probably was one. But I also think that we're heroes every day to people. The person who drops their wallet and we're like, hey, here, sir, you forgot your wallet. You know, so many issues would be had if people didn't do these little acts of kindness, even as much as opening a door for someone. So I just kind of see us being heroes every day. And um, it's hard to think of ourselves like that, but we actually do. And I do think that just helping people in need and doing those little acts of kindness or just coming through for somebody who say like somebody needs me to dog sit for them like next month. They didn't have anybody and they wanted somebody they could trust. And so I came through for them. And that's a lifesaver because that allows, their relative to visit them and I'm taking care of things and they don't have to worry. So um, I don't know that they would call me a hero or that I would call myself a hero, but let's just say that that label could just kind of be there. So that's kind of what I have to offer on it.
Julie, I think I'm going to change my next presentation to I want everyone to hear Julie because you've encapsulated everything I'm talking about. You've incorporated it. I love your philosophy. There's so much to it that I love, but what I really love is I think the challenge is like I don't wake up going, "Oh, I'm a hero." But I do have a little ritual where I like center myself, like today I will again be a hero who's helping myself, my family, my friends, other people, and other species. It's just that quick, a ritual. So I don't go through there going, "Oh, hero, you're stuck in traffic," or argue with my daughter. I'm a hero. You should listen to me. I don't. But that ritual of aligning myself psychically each day really grounds me. And so the trick is you don't have to muse like I'm a hero, but don't think you're not either, because that's the psychological block. That's the block. And your psyche's like, no, you got to figure out a way to believe you're a hero. If it's like if it, that's why I like the token quote. It's like, you're a hero, quietly be a hero. Do that, but don't block yourself from that energy that wants you to be heroic. So you're really articulating the balance or the sweet spot that I'm advocating. So thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Next up is going to be Cheng, followed by Ari. Cheng.
Yeah, actually, I think Julie actually answered my question. So I was wondering, it seems, since our psychology really want us to be hero, I think everybody had that desire. But it feels like the society denies. It seems there are only a few people we recognize as hero. Actually, I think YouTube may help us make it more like accessible to more people. And and it seems win-win for everybody to be hero, but is it possible that we can all be hero? Or there's can only a few can be? As that was my question. But I think Julie may answer that, there's we actually I see my dad, he wants to study satellite, like airspace shape. But when in Cultural Revolution, he couldn't join because his family was from certain kind of like family. He cannot be admitted. Now he's like in his 80s. He studied all this. I was like, oh my God, it's reminded me about this novel. I think it's the guy fighting what do you call the windmill
Don
with the
Quixote.
donkey. It's like that's about the person who haven't filled his dream as a hero when he was younger. My dad is exactly doing that. He's writing the paper. He's making up his dream. He's trying to be a hero. And the funny thing is that he's talking with other friends' dad who studied the spaceship. And like he wants to talk with him about that, but he actually is growing vegetables because he actually want to be he want to be a farmer or something else. And it's like, what Cultural Revolution have done to mess up people's life? Because you want the people who want to be a spaceship and end up do something else, and the person who want to be a farmer end up doing. So the ideal society is that everybody actually doing the things they want to do, then they all be a hero. I think that's what then they love what they do, which is more productive to the society. I think that's maybe then we all can be a hero and all have a fulfilled life.
Well, no, I love that because you're touching on the challenge. The challenge is that psychologically, our psyche wants us to be a hero. Okay. And that's a news to a lot of people. Are like, whoa, what? Carl Jung, who? What are you talking? Archetype? What? So I'm like, no, there is a reason why we hear that term. It's an archetype over and over again. It's psychologically important to be a hero. Again, not me making that up. It's just me understanding that. And then you look at cultures like you're talking about, and their definitions all over the map. Well, unless you're doing this, you're not a hero. If you're a woman, you're not. And so it's like, okay, so we need to have a conversation like we're having now. How do we take that definition, of a hero and make it more practical and make it accessible to people, because ignoring it creates psychological disruption. But the way we're defining it, it's like weird, like what? I have to be flying through the air, like, huh? So you've touched on what I think is a challenge. It's a challenge to define. And so I just took it one step further, going, rather than have the debate, I'm going to ask you to be this type of hero. And it's up to you. It's intent, like you were saying. My intent is to put it out there. I'm not responsible if you're that hero or not. I'm just presenting to you a type of hero that could be very valuable. It's valuable to me. But at the end of the day, it's your choice as an individual if you want to be that type of hero.
David, let me ask you a quick question. Why is it that the psyche wants us to be a hero?
So it's what I put in that one slide. It's the community, the collective is telling these stories as a survival characteristic. It's like we're telling you stories of people who've overcome great odds because you're going to have to overcome great odds. So over the centuries, our psyches become programmed like I need to hear hero stories from role models to survive. And I took it to the next step where it goes past survival to just expanding my loving of being alive. People don't watch movies and hero stories because their life depends on it, but it expands their loving of being alive when they see empowered people, people who overcome adversity. So you do that enough times throughout history, it becomes imprinted in your psyche.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next up is going to be Ari, followed by Vishal. Ari, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for hosting this, David. And I want to honor not only what you've been saying, but what everybody else has been saying as a community, and attempt to be a little bit of a hero right now in that model that I just want to contribute. And the idea is that I want to marry something that I've been thinking about with regards to, you're saying the hero archetype, but the Jungian archetype. And there's I guess he's a scientist. His name is Dr. Paul Conti, and he has this wonderful idea of what the self is. And ultimately, he says that the structure of self and the function of self are composed of a aggressive drive and a pleasure drive, and that those are subsumed by something much more powerful called the generative drive. And so the aggressive drive could just be in a simple thing, we're subjects, we want to act on our environment. We're not just rocks that, if a lava comes and mows us over, we're just going to melt. We move out of the way. And to some degree, the extreme version of this, extremely aggressive, is we want to control everything and we just treat everything else like an object. And the sweet spot in the middle is having agency, where we want to affect the world around us, better, for worse. We could be selfish or not. And then the pleasure drive, similarly, if we're like you're mentioning, the solution is just get checked out with the drugs, or those are the extreme version of the pleasure drive is just to be an addict. That's your tunnel vision, and you're more like a passive player. You're just controlling things to get your pleasure. But he says there's something that humans have that's distinct, which is very much this generative drive. And the generative drive is the idea that we want to be more than ourselves, and we want to contribute for the good around us, and that's what makes us feel good. And I can't help but think that the manifestation of the generative drive is the hero archetype. And this would make a lot of sense because he also refers to Carl Jung. And there's a specific quote that he uses that I'm going to refer to here, that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So in classic stories, especially Greek stories, you have fate and you have the hero who strives against his fate, to change his fate, that we want to change the world around us, that we want to change it for good. And so for me, this answers the question of why we're so interested in heroes, is because it's the model, the role models for us how to form our generative drive into how to affect the world around us in a positive way, which makes a lot of sense from almost a simple point of view, that if I want to live a better life, well, I need an environment that's going to be able to provide a better life for me. And therefore, if I contribute to a better environment, well, then I'm going to benefit from that. And if we all do that together, that just scales up. And so you have this innate version of the generative drive, which is to be a better version of yourself by contributing to others. And that's not, it's like you're, helping yourself, you're helping other people, you're helping your family, you're helping other species. These are all extensions of yourself. And so by helping them, you feel pleasurable that I'm helping. And it's just, we want to generate, and we have this energy we want to do for good. And so again, I see there's a happy marriage in terms of a psychology here that's that's really marrying Paul Conti's generative drive as the ultimate drive that we want to have our aggressive drive and our pleasure drive sort of under the umbrella of the generative drive, which is the manifestation of that generative drive is the hero archetype, and we all want to be heroes. And that it's beautiful to like I don't want to get anybody else's names, so I think Maritza and Julie and I know it's G Phone 12. We were all saying we want to be heroes, and that can scale on any way. You just help your children, you're being a hero to them. If you're just helping your neighbor, you're being a hero to them. This is about contributing to your community. This is all not in a vacuum, not in a bubble, right? So these all things sort of come together nicely. And I really just, I like this so much. And I really like to add, this support for the hero is the manifestation of the generative drive. And I'll leave there.
Well, I have to apologize to Julie because in my next presentation, you're going to have to share the stage with Ari. Because you really nailed it. And if you go deeper, like I've talked about hero stories, but really, what is a hero story? It's a story about how people use that generative drive to solve a problem. How do you generate a solution? They just don't say, oh, Frodo's a hero. The spellbinding part of these stories is how do they generate a solution? How do they get out of the cave? How do they escape the dragon? So it's constant generative role modeling that you're seeing. That is the story. It's just a hero doesn't exist in a vacuum. They have to generate a solution to the predicament they're in. So it's the generative that they're basically those stories are generative drive stories.
Thank you. Thank you, Ari. Great comments. And thank you, David. Next up is going to be Vishal. And just please go ahead. Would love to hear from more people. Vishal, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I learned today is that a definition, the concept of hero in my mind from the childhood was incomplete. And just like me, so many other people think hero means Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. But this session actually changed my perspective and made me realize that no, actually, anyone who thinks about others, looks around, try to help others, is a hero. It's just person doesn't realize. We all do good to others, just like our parents. Parents are real heroes. Our siblings, people who help us in any way. And we all do heroic acts here and there regularly, and maybe more frequently, less frequently, we all do it. But more we realize it, more we feel appreciated, and we have encouragement to do it more. That's what I think. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's incredibly gratifying that's my passion of trying to define a type of hero that's accessible to people and putting it into practice in their life gives them a lot of energy and meaning. So it's just very gratifying that what we're presenting is helping you, shift that perspective and align yourself with the idea that you are a hero.
Thank you. Thank you, Vishal. Now, David, I was thinking of if anybody has any questions that they would like to ask. Do you want to do that, or do you have some other way of proceeding?
So I'm not surprised because of this group. I really think this group understands what I'm getting at. So I don't feel like I have to challenge people like, what's blocking you from considering yourself to be a hero? So what I'd like to do with this group is challenge people. How do you really build momentum on this concept? So for example, I say I do this ritual in the morning. You know, it's the classic I am statement. I am a hero who's helping myself, my family, my friends, other people, and other species. And then I'm conscious of doing that throughout the day. That to me is the power. Unconsciously, most people are helping all the time. But when you make it conscious and you see yourself sort of as a hero, it really elevates it. Like you feel like it, that's the flow, the psychic energy flow. Like I really feel, and it's just that simple that that's why I say I use the word hero maybe once a day in that ritual. And that's really the block when people go, I'm not a hero. You're a hero. Just let go. And then throughout, focus on the helping part of that statement. The other thing I say is the report card for people. A lot of people have trouble helping themselves. They go, oh, that's selfish or it's scary or, it's much different in today's world, with the embrace of psychology, but there's still a lot of resistance to like helping myself. There's not a lot of resistance to helping family members. I really think this is where and friends, like this is where we're the most heroic. Like we just do it. We'll do anything for our family and friends. When it comes to helping other people, it's a mixed bag. COVID really isolated us. Social media, we all think we're freaks and hate each other. And so it's like you see volunteerism going down. Like that's really been disrupted to say, am I going to touch someone if they're in the street? I don't want to get it. So we have to push ourselves to help other people. And then helping other species is a mixed bag. People, their pets are their family. There's a tremendous population that is protecting whales and endangered species. And there's another part of the population that just doesn't, well, it's wiped out. So on our report card, I think we need to work harder on helping ourselves. We do great helping our family and our friends. I think we need to push helping other people, and we really need to do a better job helping other species. They're sort of innocent victims of humanity slopping around trying to figure it out. So I would ask the group, what can they do tomorrow to put this in practice? Like, give me an example of what that would look like.
Folks, go ahead and type an exclamation mark or raise your hand in Zoom. Would love to hear from as many people. Let's start with Vishal. Vishal, go ahead.
So when we were discussing this, I was thinking about one of my coworkers. Usually this guy is cranky, yelling and all that, but what I realized is that he's a lot older than me, and I do realize that he has made many sacrifices. I think I just need to make him realize that he's also a hero. Probably will put a smile on his face, and probably he will have encouragement to keep doing good. Just like I have encouragement now to keep doing good. I think that's something I'll do too.
Perfect. I would challenge people to do that ritual, come back next month, report on that so it could be even more interactive. And I think the most important part is the consciousness of it. Like I'm consciously doing this because what happens is it's a feedback loop. It's an experiment. Everyone I see, I'm going to ignore that they're annoying and just try and help. It's amazing how that switches your energy. We were talking about community. Like you're the hero, you're helping. It's not dependent if other people are being heroic. The hero of a story is the one who takes a stand. You just go out and help anything that moves. I think your psyche will vibrate. People will just smile, and you're like, what a great lifestyle, as we're talking about. Like, this could be a lifestyle. I can't tell you how it works for me. And trust me, there are plenty of times where someone's really annoyed me. I'm tired. I don't want to be a hero. And I slip. I'm not perfect, but at least by putting it into practice, it really does energize and empower me. And it's very rewarding.
Thank you. Next up is Maritza.
So, I was thinking about your question on how I could implement this tomorrow, and I really like the self-affirmation aspect of it. But I have to apologize because I'm going to respond with a question because your question spurred a question for me. And the question was, okay, so what came to mind was if I am the hero every day, do I view the people around me as supporting characters? Or how do I ensure that I don't fall into the trap of viewing people as somehow lesser than? Because the idea is if I'm the hero, well, you're going to be my sidekick or you're going to be my villain, or it's so how do I ensure that my narrative doesn't fall into a us versus them mentality?
I love that question. So this is exactly why I do the training. Let's train. Let's make you a superhero. Number one, my response is it's a sin to think about what other people think and compare yourself to other people. Like your first heroic act is it's you. Okay? You're doing this for you. So don't not be a hero because you're worried if someone I,
No, I think you might misunderstand the question. It's
okay.
not what other people are thinking, it's how am I thinking of other people? So if I guess what I'm looking at is if I'm waking up every day and I'm affirming for myself that I'm the hero of the story, how do I avoid a situation where I make the extrapolation that because I'm the hero of the story, the person next to me has to be the sidekick, or the person in front of me has to be an adversary or the villain. The mindset is, I think, it's just so you want the positive energy from embracing your hero nature, but how do you embrace your hero nature in such a way that it doesn't become
So why don't you consider them heroes? You're surrounded by a community of heroes. That to me is what I do. They might not realize they're a hero. They might act. You're surrounded by fellow heroes because they are. You have no idea what they went through in the morning. They were crying when they heard about their grandmother is sick, or they had to quit their job. Like people are, it's tragic that we don't understand how other people are just trying their best and being a hero. So you can be, look at yourself not as they're part of your story, but you're a role model by living your best hero life. And that uplifts them, that inspires them. They're fellow heroes. They're on the journey with you in Lord of the Rings. And you by you being your best hero, they'll consciously or unconsciously pick that up. So that's a form of helping as well. Does that make sense?
does, and it's as enticing as it is. It prods the question: if everyone leaves the town to go on the hero's journey, what happens to the town? Like what happens to the community if everybody is the hero? I don't know. Maybe I'm stuck in too small of a mindset.
Well, everyone, so in the past, and it's only recently, and this is what religions did, we had initiation ceremonies, right? You go to a house of worship, you were initiated or baptized, or you had a bar mitzvah, or you became the knight with King Arthur. There was an initiation that everyone had to go through. So look at it in your community of heroes. Not everyone goes at the same time because they're just not ready for it. So it's sort of like it's time for this batch of heroes to go into the jungle and we're going to leave you there. And if you're a man or a woman, you come out. So everyone is on that hero's journey. And here's what's tragic about our culture. We don't even talk about it as a culture. You're on NBC News. This hour is, have you gone on your hero's
Not
journey?
every culture. Some cultures do,
Right.
but yeah, I hear what you're saying. Okay.
So it's okay. It's okay for everyone to be a hero, and it's okay for everyone to go through that initiation. And everyone's not going to go through it at the same time. So don't talk yourself out of being a hero. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I get it. Thank you. Thank you. It's the idea of, so what I was saying is I was concerned about, is my embracing of me being a hero every day, all day, is it going to somehow provide a negative impact to those around me whom I would prefer to be supporting and helping? And what I'm hearing is that no, because they're on their own journey and mine is not going to negate theirs. They're just at a different pace than I am. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for
Perfect.
that clarification.
Perfect.
Thank you. Next up is going to be Jeng, Katie, Connie, and Ari. Jeng, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, my question is, it seems we all have the desire to be a hero, and my question is, from our psychology, do we feel we are a hero just by recognize ourselves, or do we need other people's recognition to have satisfied that psychological needs to be a hero? Like you can say I'm a hero, and nobody else think that way. Do you still have that? Psychologically, can you still feel that? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, it's sort of like the conversation we just had.
Mm-hmm.
Assume everyone can be a hero in your community, and focus on your own hero's journey, basically, and don't worry so much about others. I believe we're psychologically programmed naturally to want to be a hero. So a lot of the work is your own inner work. It's your own inner work. And as you focus on being that hero that's helping in all these ways,
Mm-hmm.
you serve as a role model for people around you. Just your energy. So focus on yourself and your own hero's pathway, and don't worry so much if people are considering you. I don't, like I said, I do it for my own alignment each morning. I could care less if someone, grabbed me going, you're really being a hero today. It's not about them. It's
Yeah.
about how I'm aligning with my own psychic energy. And the feedback I get from people is they're appreciative that I'm trying to be helpful. The hero is just 5% of it. It's how I'm being helpful as a hero. That's where I'm getting a lot of validation.
Another idea I have is, I'm not Christian, but I think from outside, I see, when the God is kind of hero and every like model follow the God, that's actually maybe part of this hero's journey. It's just I just reflect on that's maybe how that works, in the system, in the organization.
Well, I mean, the hero's journey in Joseph Campbell's sense is you're going into your inner world to find the divine, you can call the divine God or a goddess, however, the life force. So it is a part of the hero's journey is an alignment with divinity. It's a whole separate subject, but it takes a heroic act to break down the ego and do that alignment. But in our model, that's how you're helping yourself. You're helping yourself reduce those barriers so you can align with the divine or whatever you want to do on your hero's journey. But it's helping yourself, giving yourself the courage and the support to follow, what's calling to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jang. Next up is going to be Katie. Katie, go ahead.
Wanted to throw a new idea into the mix. What about the busybody helpers? Someone who helps people that don't want to be helped.
So give me a specific example.
Oh, I could think of an example. Maybe somebody, maybe comments on someone's a problem that someone has, and that person doesn't want any advice or feedback or something like that. I could make it more specific, but I'm keeping it vague.
Well, I think, and I love the word intent. I think if your intent going into the interaction is to be helpful, that's really all you can do. And there's a lot of times where just being there, just listening, not trying to solve the problem. Trust me, I learned that lesson. Just listen, don't try and solve the problem, is a form of helping. So if your intention is to help people, and clearly they're like, go away, don't help me, then you've done what you can do. It's not your responsibility if they don't want your help. You're just trying to live that heroic lifestyle. I'm here to help.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. Next up is Connie. Connie, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I process things a little bit slower. I've been processing during this whole time, putting it together, David, what we had, previously talked about. And tonight, what stood out to me is it was very godlike. Heroes are very godlike and love, which God is. And it's very unselfish. Um, the one thing I struggle with, and I want to come back to it, but because I don't want to focus on it. I struggle with everyone as a hero, but I think I'm getting it. I think I'm looking at it more open-minded because you've had an effect on me from our previous meetings. So I like that you said tomorrow, kind of look at what you can do to recognize yourself being a hero or to be a hero. So I just thought about this week and today when you said it, because I've been kind of doing that. And I do start my morning with meditation, breathing all the time, which has helped me in my life. And I thought about something, it's just going to be so simple. And I never would have thought of this as heroic in any way. But I have a garden that I, every summer. And I grow, tomatoes and cucumbers and beans and all that. And it's too much for me, but I love just watching it grow. But when the vegetables come, it's like there's too many for me. So what I do, and I've just done this on my own, and I think it makes me happy about myself that I have this naturally in me, is I take it to my neighbors and, they are so appreciative. But I'm not doing it to win them over or them to think me nice. I'm not doing that at all. I just want the the vegetables to not be wasted. And so it's actually I'm able to say this, which is hard for me to say, David, that it's very kind of me to do that. I mean, it is really coming from kindness. And I like that about myself. And I also, when I've done things out of the blue, stepped into the middle of a fight to stop it, for example, kind of put myself at risk. I never thought of it as being a hero, but I do know that I do intervene in situations where most people won't. They say, mind your own business. So the other thing was, I went to a friend of mine's father died last week, and I went to the funeral home, and I just sat there because I didn't know anyone, but I didn't try to mingle or anything. I just sat there for a couple of hours and sat with the moment. And I really felt good about that. And I couldn't believe how grateful that the person, my friend, that her father died. I'm going to get emotional. And she was so grateful. And I didn't even know it. And then another friend today. So these are just things about her daughter's going through some trauma. So my friend called me like 6 times today because she's trying to help her daughter with her doctor. And each time she said, thank you, Connie. She just kept, I said, no, I'm here. I'm going to carry my phone around with me and you call me back when that's over. And I meant it totally. And I don't know, I guess I need to love myself more by recognizing the hero as we are broadening the definition of it, and appreciate that more in myself, and without being egotistical. I think that's what Maritza maybe was a little bit talking about. But just appreciating and loving myself more for who I am. And I guess that's all I have to say. I hope I feel like I talk in circles, but anyway, thank you.
I'm going to hit the buzzer on you now, Connie, because that was beautiful. And then you tried to negate it at the very end. So you
I
and
know.
so I am really proud of you. I like that you come to my talks and challenge me. And I see the shift, which is a heroic act to me. Because you were pretty much, I don't want everyone to be a hero. And so you are sitting with what we're talking about, you're putting it into practice, you're starting to feel the validation of who you are, and you're identifying, hey, maybe I'm too hard on myself. And to do all that, most people do not do that, Connie. And I think you need to be very proud of yourself for doing that. It's very hard, and I'm very proud of you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, David.
Thank you. I just want to make one comment, and then David, we can decide where we want to go. I really like Connie's comments, because what happens, and this is also kind of goes to the heart of what I think, David, what you're trying to say, or it also goes to the heart of what the Tolkien quote, the first one, was. What happens is that, we are human beings, and we are social beings, we are individual beings, and we are social beings. So somebody just acknowledging your humanity through a very simple gesture, which is actually simply saying, there you are. And I see you, and this is, and just acknowledging that through action, through words, is something that materially makes the world better. It may seem very simple, but kind of genuine, heartfelt action or words, um, they are crucial to building the community, and they are crucial to our own, everybody's well-being. So I, we don't want to deprecate that, and we definitely want to kind of talk it up, as David is doing.
So unless anyone has another question or comment, certainly open to it. I'll just sort of sum up. Magical evening. Magical evening. I'm reminded of, I'm working hard on, especially in election season, trying to turn off the negative imagery we're bombarded with. And it's groups like this that remind me, this is the vast majority of people are just loving, kind people. So thank you for a reality check. And just to sum up, this is all about me. This is all about my psychological health. I'm just being honest. And it's me coming back from that journey to share. And what I mean all about me is just struggling. Like, who am I? We hear these words hero all the time. Well, what is that? What are the actual definitions? Okay. It all seems to be someone who's helping. Can I be a hero? Okay. How do I define myself as a hero? Okay. Put that in practice. Wow. This is really working for me. And then who knew about depth psychology? Like, you're blocking. I didn't have no idea I was blocking my own energy. So it's me working it out for me and my health, just to be honest, because unless you live the experience, unless you go through the initiation, people are just going to sense like, well, why are you telling me this story? It's like, this is what worked for me. And what's important for me is presenting and sharing it and then letting it go. Just letting it go. Like if it's really what I believe, then I shouldn't worry about, did they believe me or whatever? And I'm really feeling like I'm aligned. I'm aligned. And unconsciously you see that in me. That's what's selling you on what I'm doing. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. And so I hope you all come back next month, and I'd love to just hear your experiences. But I am so gratified with the responses, the questions, and how this went. I think you agree, Shrikant. This went really well tonight. So I want to thank everyone for that.
This is fantastic, and I love the format. And I think we are on to something. So look forward to having you back next month, folks. Please come back next month. See you soon. Bye, everybody.